All right, let's see. E.O.M.M. and the death of online multiplayer.
I feel like half the world knows what skill-based matchmaking is at this.
Yep, skill-based matchmaking. Um, you can actually see more or less like all the little facets of skill-based matchmaking because there's like a patent on it or whatever. And the first time I heard about it when it first came out years ago, like the little paper got like put up on Reddit or whatever with a link to like the actual like patent website, and it was crazy how much information was revealed on there and how much information was not revealed on there. So like for skill-based matchmaking, in like a shooting game or whatever, it's Call of Duty. Essentially they can track every single thing you can do in for skill-based matchmaking. So skill-based matchmaking, they can track how much you run, you walk, you slide, jump, aim down sight, your accuracy for this gun at this range, that gun at that range, how much you, what else? Like how much you climb, how much you throw grenades, how much you use tacticals, how fast you get kills or whatever. If you can name it, they can pretty much track it. All right. And so with that, the more better you get, the more likely you are to be teamed up against people of similar skill, making every match seem like it's a bazillion dollar tournament. And that's very exhausting. All right. So E.O.M.M. is, I think it's engagement optimized matchmaking, a little bit different than SBMM, but let's see.
This point. How many SBMM exposed videos have we all watched in the last few years?
Many.
20, 30, maybe even more?
Yep.
I only bother to bring it up to contextualize something that I keep hearing rumblings about here and there. E.O.M.M, or Engagement Optimized Matchmaking.
Yep.
What even is it? Is it Boogaloo? Is it real? Is it just some new SBMM?
Yeah.
Near as I can tell, it originated in 2017 in kind of a research/proof of concept paper authored by 7 people from various universities and EA Games.
Challenge everything.
The name of this paper? E.O.M.M, an engagement optimized matchmaking framework. Now, when I first heard the phrase engagement optimized matchmaking, it kind of sounded like a Tinder competitor to me. What these clearly very intelligent people have come up with is an algorithmic system designed to control an individual's experience and outcome in online multiplayer. And it is very impressive in a scary way. It makes skill-based matchmaking and lobby balancing and ping averaging and all the other outcome control systems developers have become absolutely obsessed with look like some caveman shit by comparison.
Yeah.
And don't worry, you don't have to be some professor of big-brain mathematics to understand how this will affect and maybe already is affecting.
Bro, look at the amount of, I know this is like cherry-picked or whatever to be like, look like it's super complicated or whatever. But like, this is how much this E.O.M.M is being used in a lot of FPS games nowadays. And it's like, why is it only in shooters that this is utilized? Like, it started in shooters, and for the most part, it's staying in shooters. Like, where are all the other multiplayer games where they utilize these algorithms, Where's all the World of Warcraft or the RPGs or the Fall Guys algorithms for skill-based matchmaking, What the heck? Why? What happened? So, what catastrophic event happened that made some dude lose his shit so much that he needed to figure out an equation to match, like I guarantee you the dude that made this equation sucked so bad, like got his ass handed to him in some shooter, that he was so pissed and he had the biggest chip on his shoulder. He went to school and he made this to get back at all the people that shit on him. All right? Guarantee you that's where all of this stuff came from.
Your multiplayer experience. The formulas and graphs simply show the methods used to arrive at these findings. It's the findings themselves, written in plain English, that really made my hair stand on end. And in order to illustrate my overall points, I'm going to read a few sections verbatim. Probably the most interesting passage is right at the beginning. Quote, "Current matchmaking systems depend on a single core strategy, create fair games at all times."
Oh, all right. Now, create fair games. Okay, and fair games is italicized because this is going to be a subjective term, but at all times. So, and I'm just gonna assume that this is gonna be all like only shooters. Um, Creating fair games at all times is fine if you have a ranked ladder or a leaderboard or some sort of competitive mode in your shooter. This is fine. And actually, this is preferred, all right, in the ranked playlist of your favorite shooter, all right? But then when you apply this to like just pubs, it doesn't feel so good. Unless you're willing to like tank your KD and just like turn the game on and just lose or whatever, or God forbid you enter a match and try to leave instantly, it'll be like, oh, your KD or whatever was protected. It's like, bro, I'm trying to look bad on purpose, so I can have like at least like a decent like kind of relaxing match to where the point where I don't have to face these like sweaty people at all times, like slide jumping, slide canceling, dolphining, diving, like tap strafing, wall bouncing dudes like all over my screen at all times. Like the people that think that that's okay, it's crazy.
These systems pair similarly skilled players on the assumption that a fair game is best player experience. We will demonstrate, however.
Okay. These systems pair similarly skilled players on the assumption that a fair game is best. Ooh, fair game is best player experience. Again, the fair games is up here, italicized, but it's not italicized down here for whatever reason.
That this intuitive assumption sometimes fails and that matchmaking based on fairness is not optimal for engagement. Unquote.
Oh,
there are a few
fairness is not optimal for engagement. Ooh, that's interesting.
Different things we could discuss here. For instance, this idea of creating fair games. What does fair even mean and who decides it? But I'm more interested in that
I mean, so like just like knee-jerk reaction, I would assume like fair means some sort of like you have some level of skill versus a similar level of skill. And that's going to be the fair thing. I mean, I'm not going to be like what do you call it? Like what was it called? Like a disingenuous arguer or whatever, like was it like a bad actor or something, and be like, "Oh, what does that even mean?" I think that's dumb. It's like when they say fair matches, like what that means. A similar skill player versus similar skill player. That's what they mean by fair.
Last sentence. Matchmaking based on fairness is not optimal for engagement. What we can infer from that statement is that, according to this impressive body of research, optimal player engagement can only be achieved through unfair matchmaking.
Right.
And engagement means exactly what you think, your attention real estate. The time you spend in the game's client engaging with whatever it has to offer, maybe playing, maybe buying a shitload of loot boxes. Quote,
oh my god, I forgot about that. A lot of these like shooters have like time. Oh my god, that's a thing that they can track. Like time spent in store, time spent opening loot boxes. How much money did this account spend on skins and things? Like I forgot that's a thing they can track as well. Oh Jesus. Was the player engaging with the game? If he reached this level of engagement, the more time he engages with it, the more likely he is gonna, to spend money on the game. Dang.
Optimization objective can be tuned for various interests, e.g. in-game time or even spending.
Ooh, there it is, right there.
Unquote. Now, on the face of it, this doesn't sound that horrific or even revolutionary.
Okay, but I'm just gonna do like a side thing. Um, if like how likely or how much can this be applied to like real sports? All right. So you choose like some shooter and you start playing it and like you let's say you play a campaign. Okay, I beat the campaign on whatever, and then I'm gonna start engaging with like the multiplayer because I like multiplayer. I like shooting people. Sure. Um, what is the average amount of times like a casual person will play a multiplayer of that shooter, and how long does it take them to get into the store and start buying items? So when you apply that and like overlap it onto sports, it's like, okay, so what do you need to do to like play sports? Okay, you got it, the level of entry is like way lower. First of all, like to play basketball, what do you need? Just go buy a basketball and then go find a basketball court at the park. Same thing with soccer. Go buy a soccer ball, go find some people or whatever, and go kick it into the goal. All right. The level of entry is way higher for video games, and the niche even more so of the niche of shooters. So they know that you got money. All right. You have a console, you have a computer, so on and so forth. You got good internet, monitors, screens. They know you have money, so they just want to be able to milk more money out of you by keeping you engaged. Sports, that's not the thing. All right, sports, like real sports, is just you're just playing because you have a little bit of athletic ability, or you like playing with your friends, and that's it. If you want to move on to like bigger and better things, you got your levels, your collegiate, D1, D2, D3 sports, higher level, so on and so forth. Sports has a similar goal to try to milk money out of you, but it's not as invasive and predatory, I would think, as video games.
And some people might even say, who cares? Of course they want me to spend time and money in game, right?
Yeah.
That's what these companies are supposed to do, compete for my attention and my dollar. The issue is not so much that it's being done, it's how and why it's being done.
Yeah.
This research is stuffed to the brim with words like engagement, prediction, and spend.
Yeah.
You know what words you won't find? Fun, enjoyment, rewarding.
Yes, because there's no way that they can measure those objectively.
These things don't even cross these people's minds. The people who do and will make our games, and that should scare us. It's not about creating a fun experience anymore.
No.
What it is about is baked into the core of this system, extracting the maximum dollar value from every player no matter what it takes. And it's this philosophy that brings us games like Battlefield 2042 and Call of Duty Vanguard. Why release a polished product that's feature complete and offers good value to the customer when it's just so much faster and easier to write an algorithm that manipulates people? An algorithm that doesn't just crunch your stats, but predicts how long you will play, how soon you will play again after you stop, and how you will play when that happens. What they're trying to do here is fix what they see as the fundamental flaw in competition. The fact that in competition, there must be winners and there must be losers. Now, why is this a problem? Because losers are much more likely to leave the game, to lose engagement before they can spend. And the solution, make everyone a loser, but only as much as you think they can take. You've had 2 bad games and the algorithms.
Oh, Jesus. When you say it like that, it's like a pain endurance thing. How much pain can you endure to make you like want to buy something? It's like lose, lose, lose. Okay, we think you're losing too much. We'll throw you a win. Hey, I won one. Oh my God, I won one, guys. My skills are paying off. And then maybe you win another one. Oh my God, I'm on a streak. And then you go into another lose, 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 lose,
Says you'll quit after 3, have a noob lobby for 1 game. The algorithm shows players X, Y, and Z have a high probability of buying microtransactions after 2 wins. Throw them in a couple games against level 1s and profit. And if you think this is hyperbole, I'll drop a link to the complete paper in the description. It's all in there and so much more. Here's one final paragraph from the end of the paper that actually does a good job summarizing kind of everything that I have an issue with here. Quote, the paper presents a novel framework to achieve engagement optimized matchmaking, E.O.M.M. It formulates matchmaking as a problem of maximizing the player engagement and solves the optimization efficiently, unquote. Does that sound like a good time to you?
No.
Do you want to be solved efficiently?
No.
E.O.M.M. just...
No. The algorithm is doing the solving for you, where in real sports, the players do the solving and the winning, you know? That's why you have professional sports. You know, like the people you see that are playing professional sports have dumped tens of thousands of hours in there, and you're seeing the best of the best. Same thing with video games. The players that you see on the professional level have dumped hundreds of thousands of hours because they chose to, because they like the game or whatever. You know, if the game just so happens to have E.O.M.M, it's whatever, or SBMM, it's whatever. But the player, you should really let the player choose to play the game, and not so much leave it up to an algorithm. That just feels bad. Oh no.
This makes me laugh because way before any of these complicated systems were even conceptualized, we had engagement optimized matchmaking. It was called making a fun fucking game.
Yeah.
When games were made to be enjoyable and provide value for money, people were engaged by default. I think of the way I know-lifed Halo 3, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. These companies would do anything just to get a whiff of that level of engagement. Problem is, producing a product like that takes investment, and even more importantly, it takes a lot of time. And these big corporations are simply not willing, and I think in a lot of cases aren't able to provide that type of experience anymore. So more and more, we see the rise of these systems designed to keep you going through the motions, doing something that you don't really enjoy. And whenever I watch content on these systems, the focus always seems to be on how they work. And that's absolutely valuable information, especially if you're planning on reverse boosting or whatever. But I really don't think that's the most important thing to focus on. I think it's much more important to focus on not how these things work, but why they exist in the first place. Because the only way we're going to get this manipulative lab experiment bullshit out of games is by understanding why it's there. And
I don't think the big companies and the big developers are interested in taking these types of things out of their game. So if your favorite franchise is using E.O.M.M or SBMM, and I don't really think they're interested in taking it out. A better mindset to have would be find a different game that doesn't have E.O.M.M and SBMM. That is probably the more healthier approach to this, because like I can just use like precedents. Like the games that have those things in them, they're not being removed. You know, they're just not. Like, name me a game that had it in it and then it got removed. If not for like something else, even if it's not like E.O.M.M, it got removed for another thing that's kind of like it, or like a light version, like a diet version.
That is strictly for money. The idea that got pushed a lot when SBMM first became a big topic of controversy, that, oh, it's necessary, it has to be there to protect new players, noobs are getting shit on, and we care about that, and that's why these systems must be there, because they have to be protected.
So again, I'll just reiterate, this is E.O.M.M, and, well, not really E.O.M.M. SBMM is fine for ranked. It's not fine for pubs. All right? So, and I do believe it's like the new players that are being introduced in the shooters should have their own like protected lobbies or whatever, you know? If you're gonna like I don't know, maybe 1 to 30 or whatever should be like, or 1 to 50 will be like the 1 to 50 crowd, and then once you reach your account past level 50 or whatever, then you can go into the masses of people. All right,
That is the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. These people don't care about fairness. They don't care about the game being fun. Back to that quote from the very beginning of the paper. Matchmaking based on fairness is not optimal for engagement.
Yeah.
It's written there in black and white. And unfortunately, I don't see it stopping. This is more and more, this is just the direction we're going. All I can say is I hope some of these super high profile failures like Battlefield 2042 start to bring these companies to their senses, and we see a return to, wow, crazy concept, keeping people engaged in the game by making the game fun.
I mean, and you have seen things like this. Like, look at BattleBit Remastered or whatever. Like, I don't think that game has any sort of, like, matchmaking system in there. But then again, I don't really think they have any rank system in there either. They just have their, like, what is it? Like, 100v100, 60-60, 30-30, and, like, the little one or whatever. They just have, like, big pub matches or whatever. And that's what people want to play. I mean, you can look up the concurrent, like, player bases of all these games or whatever, and you can see what players are playing.
Ultimately, if there's a point to be driven home about all of this, it's that this system is not designed to give us a better experience. It's not designed to give us a more fair experience. It's not even designed to keep us entertained, really. It's just designed to keep us, no matter what that involves and no matter what that takes. What drew me to multiplayer at a very young age and kept me hooked my entire life was the fact that it's a competition. It's a way to measure myself against whoever else happens to be in the lobby. If they're worse than me, I get to put up great stats. If they're better than me, I get shit on and I get better as a result. And if we've gotten to a place where the outcome of a game is predetermined before we even leave spawn, if our performance in game is controlled not by our skill or the skill of the people we play against, but simply thousands of numbers being crunched in the background, then what is the fucking point?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. It's been another great day in the simulation. I'll see you next time.
Oh, man. Yeah, like E.O.M.M and SBMMM or whatever, they're like, you know, on like a standard bell curve or whatever, like once you reach the 50th percentile, it doesn't feel good, like on the second half of the bell curve, because that's when those things really start to kick in. But yeah, yeah, this was a great video. I liked it from Westlean. I thought it was good, but you know, I wouldn't say hold out anything for your favorite franchise that are, you know, that's using this type of system or whatever. I would say just find something else to play. Is my 2 cents. But yeah, it was a good video. I liked it. I want to see more, and yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, take it easy, guys. See you later.